The UFC 320 press conference just took place about 20 minutes ago, and I'm gonna give y'all my reaction to it. Talk about the shit that went on. Um, I just want to start off by saying, man, I pray we don't have another championship fight without an English speaking champion or challenger. The pain watching Ankalaev and Pereira talk back and forth, like through translators, and like it's just it was just it was a lot. But we gonna start off. Merab, first of all, Merab's suit was fucking fire. Corey Sandhagen came out looking like a fifth grader going to a funeral. But Merab's suit was fire. First question. The first question gets asked to Ankalaev, right? The question was, what is your message to every fighter on the roster? Because earlier this week, Ankalaev says, stay tuned. I have a message for every light heavyweight on the roster and everybody who's fighting on this card. So, of course, the first question gets asked to Ankalaev, hey, what was that message that you had? And you want to know what the message was? I want to prove everyone wrong and let people know who's the real champion here. What the fuck are we doing? You couldn't write a better script than that, Ali. You couldn't write a better script than that for him, Ali. I guess. Yeah, we'll get to it later, but it really does seem like Ankalaev can't shit talk, trash talk without Ali or his coach. It really does seem that way. Pereira goes to call. Another big moment happened. Alex gets asked a question about how he feels about Ankalaev, and he calls him a liar. He said he can tell that Ali is the one making the tweets because he's different in person. Like at the PI, he was a little more friendly, so he can see that he really doesn't know what's going on. And then he called him a liar and a duck, basically, for saying that he didn't want to fight him. He called Ankalaev a liar about saying Alex never wanted to fight him. He was ducking him, and then he called him out for ducking him at the PI. And then he said, Dana will vouch for me. And Dana's like, what the fuck did y'all just get me into? He literally says that to the reporter. And then Dana says that Alex has never ducked anything ever. He's always answered the phone call that he was out of the state, out of the country, doing a tour with fans, whether he was sick, injured, whatever. Alex always answered the call, so that got a big rise out of the crowd. Pretty weird, like kind of boring press conference. It had its moments, but it was for sure not one of the best press conferences, especially after what we had at 319. Merab gets asked a couple questions, and he starts fronting his resume. Merab legitimately start fronting his resume. He said, I beat Joe Aldo, I beat Peter Yan, I beat Chad O'Malley twice, I did this. Merab was talking this shit. I was like dead ass cheesing because Merab was fronting his resume in front of Corey Sandhagen. And it was just funny. Corey's comebacks are so like forced. It's so cringy to watch Corey Sandhagen. And then Merab calls him a bum, and then he goes at him for having the OnlyFans, calls him a bum, goes at him for having the OnlyFans, and Corey says, I made $2 million. I made $2 million from OnlyFans. What are you talking about? I made $2 million. And then Merab says his balls are small. And he's like, well, you're right, Merab. They are pretty small. I don't like Corey Sandhagen. If you don't know, I don't like Corey Sandhagen. Like, nothing about him. His fighting style, his personality, his everything, his demeanor. I don't like Corey Sandhagen. He's such an oddball to me. And then Merab says, I got big judging balls. And then that gives a little crowd reaction. But Corey's so weird. I don't know how he I don't know how he got this far, honestly. Yeah, Corey says they're gonna strike this fight because he's gonna force him to, because he's not gonna get taken down and get kept there. Khalil and Yuri Prohaska haven't gotten asked a question in the first 10 minutes of the fucking press conference. The best fight there, honestly, Khalil and Yuri is probably going to be fight of the night. We all agree with that. They didn't get asked a single question for the first 10 minutes. They got asked about 3 questions total, 3 or 4. Yuri got asked about 3 or 4, and Khalil got asked 2. And one of the questions was a bounce off. He like asked Yuri, and then he asked Khalil because Yuri answered. Yeah. they get a question, and it was just such a standard boring press conference question. It was kind of very frustrating. And another thing I don't understand is they were asking Ankalaev a question, and like they would ask a reporter would ask Ankalaev a question in English, and all of a sudden, like that, Ankalaev was answering the question, but in Russian. I don't know how that worked. Maybe they had a teleprompter up where we couldn't see, because Ankalaev would genuinely, and sometimes he wouldn't go along with what the question was asked. He wouldn't. They'd all do that sometimes, but Ankalaev wouldn't for sure. He he would literally get asked a question in English and immediately answer in Russian. Like no one translates to him or anything. So I don't know how that was working, but yeah, his answers had nothing to do with some of the questions that were being asked. Um, Alex is a little not jittery, but Alex is more unlike Alex. You know what I'm saying? Like if you've ever watched an Alex Pereira press conference, he sits there like, wait, cut face. CHAMA. Like he's like that. Alex was like actually kind of fired up and talking, like especially to in response to Ankalaev and like what he was saying. Um, they got asked. Alex got asked who it seems like something's off about your composure or something like that, and is Ankalaev the person who's bothered you the most out in the UFC that you ever fought? And then Alex basically said yeah, because he didn't fuck with how he was like weaponized. Ankalaev was weaponizing Alex's alcohol abuse, and he's like a big outlet for people, and he didn't like how he was talking about his alcohol abuse. You know, we kind of figured we knew that was why Ankalaev's been kind of a weirdo. And then Ankalaev gets a question about Vegas hates you, Ankalaev. There's some fucking panhandler speaking. He looked like he was one. He wanted so badly for everybody to know that he spoke Russian. He asked Ankalaev a question looking like the most vermin fucker behind those glasses. He asked him why he doesn't think Vegas likes Ankalaev because everybody was booing him every time he said something. And then he says, "Baby, because I keep beating everybody's favorite fighter." The only fighter, and I mean the only fighter that Ankalaev has beaten on the roster that can be categorized as everybody's favorite fighter is Alex Pereira. Johnny Walker, Alexander Rakic, like Paul Craig, Anthony Smith, none of those niggas are people's favorite fighters. He didn't beat Jan Blachowicz, so like none of those niggas are anybody's favorite fighters outside of Alex. So I don't know why he said that, but again, he does need Ali and his coach for comebacks and shit. It is true. I said Alex seemed a little fired up. He was talking way more than normal. He at one point he literally went like this and interrupted Ankalaev and then said, "CHAMA," and then the whole crowd erupted, and then Ankalaev said, "No, CHAMA, CHAMA's going to end," and then they kept chanting CHAMA, CHAMA, CHAMA. So it looked very fucking stupid there. Then he gets asked about his percentage and how he was going to feel, Alex, because he's been saying he was 40%. And then Alex said he was sick. There wasn't many technical errors that he needed to adjust in the fight. It was just his body wasn't 100%, or his body wasn't good at all, which is kind of not because as you know, if you're watching this, you know I think Alex won that first fight. So it's kind of like, you don't have to make the craziest technical, moves, but you do have to switch up your game plan a little bit, even though I did think you won the first fight. To be successful and like to clearly win this fight, he has to change up his game plan. And he did say he didn't think he was gonna have to make too many technical tweaks, but then later on he like said he's coming way better, he trained way harder, this and that and the third, and like it just made it seem like he said something. That at the end made it seem like when he said he didn't have to make too many technical tweaks, he didn't mean to say that. He just really meant to say that like I was hurt. That's what he meant to say. It felt like, but Another good one was Alex. Alex basically calls out Ankalaev like, bro, you're a fucking puppet. Like you don't have any good comebacks without your coach or Ali up here. So basically, stop talking. And then they're like, I don't understand. This goes back. I don't understand how they are talking. They are like one person's talking in Russian, one person's talking in Portuguese, and they're like talking back and forth. Like, but I know that they're not actually listening to each other and they don't know what they're saying. It has to be, unless they have a teleprompter up that's like live translating into their language. There's no fucking way they were understanding what each other were saying or what the crowd was saying. There's no fucking way. And then towards the end of it, some lady, man, I posted her on Twitter. I was like, bro, who is this lady? But then I saw she had a ring on her finger, so then I backtracked. But this foreign lady, I don't know where she's from, couldn't tell. She like spoke with an accent, an English accent, or not an English accent. She spoke English but had an accent. I don't know where from. She was fine as fuck. She hijacked the mic for like 4 questions that took like 5 minutes long. She asked each nigga the same like dumbass question, and then we get a Yuri PhD question that like made Yuri blush over it, and then we finally, the last question is, Alex, are you shaving your head? And Alex says, I asked my YouTube and I asked my Instagram, and they said they wanted me to wear these custom shorts, and then they wanted me to shave my head. So that's that, and that was it. That was the rest of the press conference. Yeah, kind of like not kind of. It was a mid press conference. I mean, I don't want to watch more non-English speaking pressers. Like, I need someone to speak English. I'm glad that when Alex beats Ankalaev, all of the rest of the light heavyweight contenders, all of the rest of the heavyweight contenders outside of Volkov speak English, because it's so fucking annoying not like having them go back and forth, especially when there's beef and they are trying to talk to each other and you can't, because you have to wait for one to go from Portuguese to English to Russian to English to Russian to Portuguese. It's like so annoying, and you could tell Dana was kind of like, all right, one out of like, relax, like I can't understand. No one can fucking understand this shit. But it was one of those mid press conference. I mean, there were some hype moments. It does seem like perception has changed on the internet about the fight, though. People are anticipating it. Before, people were talking about this shit's boring, we don't give a fuck. But now people seem to anticipate the rematch, so I'm glad that's a thing. Lastly, before I just want to talk about the face-offs. Nigga, I saw Khalil Roundtree and Yuri face off before they zoomed out. I'm like, bro, did Khalil grow 3 inches? Like, Khalil's listed as like 5'11", 6 feet. Him and Yuri were like this. And I'm like, damn, Khalil's tall as fuck. They zoom out and he's wearing boots. He's probably wearing some designer boots or some shit. Merab was talking to Corey Sandhagen. They were chirping back and forth during their face-off. Merab was basically like, we gonna see. Like, I'm gonna beat your ass, basically. And then Alex and Ankalaev face off. And Alex is mogging Ankalaev. He really is. Like, not even dick riding. He mogs Ankalaev. He's like, Ankalaev's here and Alex is like a noticeable this height. But when you're that tall and you're like looking down on somebody, it's noticeable. And Ankalaev, or Alex, this is what I'm saying. Alex says something to Ankalaev, like, while they're facing off. And no one knows what they said. But he says something to him as they're facing off. And then Ankalaev says something back. They don't fucking understand each other, so I don't even know what the point was. But we get CHAMA chance, and that was it. Pretty mid press conference, like I said before. Excited for the fight, though. Tomorrow I'll come at you with another video. We're doing a good job every day. We've had a video come out this week. So if you tuned in, stayed for this long, love you, appreciate it. Stay tuned for Saturday. I'm going to try to stream the fight while I'm at the fight. Post-fight coming Sunday, and y'all have a good night, man.